Yo, what is up, Phenom fam? Welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today, in this video, I'm going to be talking about my impressions of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 after the beta. Today is the last day of the beta. Today is Monday, August 24th. The beta ends tonight, and I'm going to let you guys know all of the things that I personally like and all of my opinions about Black Ops 3 after playing the beta. A very generous amount, and I'm going to give you guys my opinions, and then I'm also going to give you guys some tips. Maybe if you didn't play the beta yet, if you're going to be playing on the Xbox or PC beta, or maybe if you just want to know the tips and tricks that you're going to need when the game comes out. But keep in mind, any of the guns or attachments or anything that I say could be switched around before launch, so just keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's get into one of the simplest things, probably one of the first things you're going to have to do when you start up the game is change your control scheme. Some people leave it at default, but I do know a lot of people that change it. To bring up the options menu, you need to be in the multiplayer menu, and then you need to hit the, well, on PlayStation 4 would be options, on PC I think it would be escape, and on Xbox One it would be the start button. And that will bring up the menu tab, and you can switch between the identity and options tabs. The identity is where you can do the paint shop, which I will talk about that a little bit later in the video. We're going to want to go to options, and there you can change the controls, the muting options. You can see your network options, your audio options, and your graphics options. In the controls options, you can change your look inversion from standard to inverted. You can actually change the look sensitivity horizontal and vertically. You can keep them separate in this game. That's a first for Call of Duty. A lot of games have had this before, but it's a first for Call of Duty. And we're back to 14 sensitivities, just like Black Ops 2, 14 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. I play with both on 10, that's just a personal preference. I like having a higher sensitivity. Target assist you can turn on and off. I believe that won't be, I'm sure that won't be there on PC though. And then you can change your button layout. There's a few new ones. There's obviously the ones that we know. There is default, tactical, lefty, nomad, Charlie, all those good ones, but there are 3 new ones, and I will explain them to you right now. There is one-hand gunslinger, which changes the button layout so that L1 is fire weapon, L2 is aim down sight, and R1 is throw tactical, and R2 is throw lethals. So basically, it's just L1 and L2 to ADS and fire, and then R1 and R2 to throw lethals. And if you really wanted to, you could change those to, you could change the L1, L2, and R1, R2 buttons to flipped. So then, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. This one I could see being pretty useful if you can get used to it. I personally wouldn't use it though. The one I would have liked to use was Bumper Jumper, which is kind of supposed to be like, to relieve the people that don't have the money for scuff controllers. And it basically assigns jump to the L1 button, and it assigns throw tactical to the X button, so it just switches the input command for those 2 buttons. And the reason that I didn't want to pick this one is because I normally play on tactical, which changes the right stick from melee attack to crouch/prone, and it makes the circle button the melee attack. And Bumper Jumper, there is no Bumper Jumper tactical option. I hope that is added into the final game. Vaughn, if you ever see this, you know what to do. But that is Bumper Jumper, and then there is Stick and Move, which changes the X button from jump to melee attack, and the right stick from melee attack to jump. That one seems pretty useful as well, but I prefer to stay on tactical. And you can also change the stick layout, which is default, Southpaw, Legacy, or Legacy Southpaw, respectively. And also the other useful option that I like to use, muting the... When you go to the muting options, mute all except party is one of the options you can choose. This doesn't always work, but it's only because of the fact that it's a beta and it's a little bit buggy. But normally, if you have this turned on, every single lobby you go in will automatically mute players that are not your friends, assuming you have this turned on. Or actually, no, it's mute all except party, excuse me. The network settings, you can't change anything in there. It'll just tell you, like, you know, wired, wireless. It tells you your IP address, so if you're streaming, be sure not to pull that up. That's about it. It also tells you your geographical location, which isn't really that useful. The the audio settings is the really useful one. You can change all the volumes between voice volume, music volume, sound effects, master, and cinematics. You can change those to a number of 0 through 10, 10 being the loudest and 0 being muted. I have them all at 10. There's also audio presets. There is Treyarch mix, which is just regular, just no preset. There's bass boost, which is what I like to use. So like shots from far away and like grenade explosions are boosted. High boost, I think that boosts like closer gunshots and such, closer explosions. I don't remember. High frequency, I guess. Super crunch just makes everything really loud. Headphones, I really don't know what headphones does. I probably should have been using that since I'm using headphones, but I've been using bass boost because that's what I've always used on Black Ops 2. So that's really it for options. But we do have other things. We have the ability to be able to create our own camos in the paint shop, which is very, very amazing. I've screwed around with it. The gameplay you're actually seeing right now has me with a custom camo that I just randomly put together. I don't know, the paint shop is pretty fun. I do hope there's more options and layers to unlock in the final game, but that's just my opinion. Some of the guns that I like to play with are the Kuda submachine gun is very good. The Razorback SMG is also very good. The ARK-7 is good. The HVK-30 is good. The M8A7 is amazing. The KRM-262 is like a Remington 2.0 from Black Ops 2. And surprisingly, I am really bad with LMGs. But the LMGs, both the LMGs that you could use in the beta, the BRM and the Dingo, they are both very, very good. And the Locust sniper rifle is also very, very good. The other weapons I wasn't too fond of. You might be. It kind of depends on your playstyle. But that just kind of, depends on your playstyle, like I said. A few of the attachments I like to run kind of vary by weapon. For the most part, one of the staples is I will almost always run a foregrip on the weapon. I will also almost always run quick draw and a suppressor and a adjustable stock. That's just what I prefer to run. You guys can run whatever you please. I usually don't run optics on anything because I don't feel like most weapons really need one. The only weapon I really use with an optic, I would say, is the M8A7 and the Shiva. But I'm not that great with the Shiva, to be honest. I think I've only had the chance to play with the Semtex and the Frag, but I think out of the two, the Frag is a little bit better because it has a bigger blast radius, and you can cook it, which is extremely helpful. And I think concussions, as of right now, are pretty overpowered. So in the beta on Xbox and PC, you might want to use those because they are pretty overpowered. If you want to get screamed at, you can use them. But hopefully they will be toned down for the full release of the game. And some of the perks that I love to run, in the perk 1 slot, I'm always running Sixth Sense. This displays a minimap indicator with the direction of nearby enemies. When enemies get nearby, it'll show like a little quadrant on the minimap as to where they are. I don't think I was running it on this during this game because I don't think I had it unlocked yet or something. I don't remember. But in the second tier slot, I always stick with the default perk, which is Fast Hands. I would run Scavenger and Fast Hands, but I'm not level 44 yet, and I probably won't get there. And in the last perk slot, I like to run Blast Suppressor because the ping is not nearly as bad as it was in Advanced Warfare on the minimap, but the thruster packs are quite loud, and it is very, very useful if you're trying to stay stealthy to try and suppress it, which is exactly what Blast Suppressor does. So it's very useful in that regard. So in terms of how the game actually plays, I would say that the way that the advanced movement works is, do I like it? I like it a lot better than Advanced Warfare. I would honestly prefer to see a classic Call of Duty again, with no advanced movements, just straight boots on the ground. The only time you can get off the ground is if you're, you know, like jumping across like a small gap in buildings like favela or something like that. Or if you're doing a jump shot, should be the only time you're really off the ground. I would prefer to see that, but I think that I'm not going to be nitpicky. In terms of having advanced movements, I thought that this game did it very well, and I think that this is kind of how Advanced Warfare should have played, because I feel like with Advanced Warfare, most people used the exosuit was meant to be used for more traversal than anything, and I feel like people used it too much in combat in stupid and unnecessary and kind of really annoying ways. Because if you ever get in a close-range gunfight with someone in Advanced Warfare, it usually never ends, in a sense. Because what people do is as soon as they start getting shot at from close range, they just jump around like a jumping bean, and they just keep jumping around and jumping around and jumping around until you have no clue where they're at anymore, and then they just destroy you. I mean, granted, yes, it could be just because I'm not that great at Advanced Warfare, I'll admit it, but I honestly didn't like Advanced Warfare too much. Some people have their own opinions, but personally, I feel like if Advanced Warfare should have been like this. But the wall running is fun. It's not entirely that useful. It's used for traversal of the map. It's more like a passive movement than anything. You're not supposed to engage in combat on the wall, although sometimes, especially on Combine, that happens with the one big wall run spot used for flanking on the, well, depending on which side you spawn on the right and or left side of the map. But I am really enjoying this game, and I will definitely be picking it up on November 6th, the day that it launches, which oddly enough is also a Friday, which is pretty damn cool. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more Top 5 Friday, Top 10 Tuesday, Phenom Platinum's Phenom Podcast, and anything else you're enjoying on the channel. And be sure to pack a punch that like button, guys. And thank you guys so much for watching again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Phenom